Today I'm going to be giving a video PowerPoint presentation on genre analysis and narrative analysis. Crime slash gangster films.
Racketeering.
Family. Never forgetting where we came from.
Violence in Chicago, of course, but not by me, not by anybody I employ, and I'll tell you why. It's not good business.
To me, being a gangster was better than being president of the United States.
Rely on your friends and always keep your mouth shut.
One thing, you got an all-out prize fight, you wait till the fight's over, one guy's left standing, and that's how you know who won.
Just tell me, are you being careful?
You are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody or you're nobody.
Hey, Mom, what do you think?
You look like a gangster.
Crime slash gangster films focus on criminal activities and criminal lives. This particular genre normally glorifies criminals and glorifies criminal life. This particular genre is normally based on autobiographies of real life gangsters who've lived in the past, and it's turned into their life. For example, like American Gangsters was based on a gangster, Frank Lucas's life and his experiences in the streets of New York, and other films, but some can be fake, like The Godfather and Goodfellas. How can you identify a film is a gangster crime film? One, gangster films always have guns, police, and bad guys, machine guns, and normally a car plays a big important role in these gangster films. Crime films normally have a lot of different sub-genres, like crime comedy, crime horror, crime thriller, hood films, which is just a spin-off of crime and gangster films, and ghetto neighborhoods, mob films, which is like Italian bosses, dramas and actions because it involves a lot of guns. And some great gangster films, in my opinion, are Scarface, some of the Godfathers, not all of them, Paid in Full, Boys in the Hood. There's some other ones, but those are the ones I particularly like. I like them because the directors were creative and inventive and brought a new style. Brought a new style to the genre, their own spin-off. In particular, Boys in the Hood. It's like the first film of its kind, and it's one of the most legendary films ever to be made, in my opinion. The director did a good job, worked with a good cast, and it was a great film overall because it involved all the elements of a crime film, but it had other subgenres like drama, action, and a hood film. It was pretty inventive, creative overall. Sci-fi is a genre that is fiction, travel, space, robots, futuristic. Has a lot of subgenres to it as well. Drama, action. It normally touches on aliens, non-existent stuff, basically. Fictional stuff, fictional characters in the future, or maybe set in the past, or like for example Back to the Future, where they can travel backwards and forwards throughout the time space. The genre goes back to 1902 with the film that was called A Trip to the Moon. That amazed people back then, but I think the genre has come a long way from then, like with films like Star Trek. Western film. This genre is mainly of visual arts because of it being set in Western America, olden times. Is normally set in the 19th century or older. Identify a Western. Western films normally have poor, hard characters. That you can also identify a Western with cowboys, Native American, gunfights, sheriffs. Those are like the iconography of that genre. Actors like John Wayne and Clint Eastwood represent the iconography of the Western genre, because audience can just see them and identify them with the genre because they've done so much films in this category. they know about it, and they've took part in a lot of films, like actors like John Wayne, who's done a lot of films, Clint Eastwood, Fistful of Dollars, and other such Western films that he took part in. Narrative analysis. What is a narrative? A narrative is a key part in telling the story, because without the narrative there is no film. A narrative helps you flow along with the story from the beginning to the middle to the end. Every director has to work with the narrative. Narrative is very important in films. Narratives tell the audience great stories. Narratives begin a good films. Narratives can break into different parts like the way stories and plots are set. Story and a plot. A plot is something that is visible to the audience and is presented to them. For example, like if they're holding a gun, and you know that they're holding a gun, so that's part of the plot. That makes up the story. Then the plot is the event that makes up the story. The narrative structure of a plot can be divided into 5 parts, which is like the 5 acts of play. These 5 parts are: exposition, introduces and tells you about the main characters so you can have an idea on who they are. This tells you the main characters, what the main character is aiming to achieve in the film. It gives you an understanding on what they need to do. The second one is rising action, which introduces the conflicts that the main actors have to face. You start to see where the problems start to come in. Things aren't as good as they were in the beginning. Sometimes characters might start turning on each other and obviously start forming enemies. This is the part where the story starts to turn. The main character makes decisions which will affect them in the whole of the film. They start to reflect on themselves and things that went wrong and how they can better themselves as characters. Fall in action. At this point we're losing the end. We're losing the end. The goal seems less and less more visible, like it's impossible to achieve. The actors face tension. The actors face tension. The film, things start to go wrong. The actors face tension. Things start to go wrong for them. The bad guys normally in the films everything starts to look up for them. It starts to work out well. But obviously we know at the end everything's going to be alright for all the characters. Denouement. This is mainly the ending where everything starts to work out properly. All the long-term conflict ends. The bad guy normally dies at this part, and there's always like a big showdown. The main character always wins at the end, but obviously they go through a lot of different struggles. Linear films. Most films are linear. It's simple for the audience to understand. It's straightforward. It stays on one timeline. Everyone can pick up on it. You can start like in the middle of the film and still understand what's going on. I'm not saying it's basic, but there's no flashbacks and stuff involved. Non-linear films. Non-linear structure in non-linear films. Non-linear structure is when films don't stick to the timeline. The start could be the end, or the end could be the start. A film can be viewed non-linear if the director uses flashbacks, flash forwards, just skips around into the timeline, tells the viewer the story different. The flashbacks might happen when the character starts to reflect back on their life and something they've done wrong, or where they see themselves in the future, just to give the audience a understanding on what they're thinking, or when someone's telling another character a story. The director might normally bring a flashback into it, or a flash forward. Some great non-linear films out there, like Citizen Kane, Sin City, Boys in the Hood, and Paid in Full, and also Pulp Fiction, which is one of the best non-linear film. A great non-linear film in my opinion is Paid in Full, because Paid in Full keeps it simple. You still understand it, and it's a great non-linear film in my opinion. Probably my favorite non-linear film. The film is directed by Charles Steele III. It's a gangster film. subgenre, maybe hip hop / drama. The film begins with Ace, the main character. No, the film begins with the gangsters on the block. Then it flips to Ace and the three main characters, Ace, Rico, and Mitch, having dinner. Then Ace goes back home where he's confronted by gangsters, but at this point we're not quite sure yet because we haven't come across it yet. All we see is Ace appear and in the ambulance bleeding, but we're not sure what happened to him, so we're left clueless. Then it rewinds from a year perspective. Then we start to build upon the story to a point where we understand that he became a drug dealer and such, and people were after him. And then we go back to the beginning, which is the middle part, and the story continues on from then, and we see what he does after and how he confronts the situation. And the main character has to go through a lot of struggles, like try to stop the drug dealers from getting them, start to stop the police from arresting them and stuff like that. It's a great film overall.